And I, for my part, am camera free because there's a window right behind me and it's a beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, it's. I keep debating whether I would like to take this upstairs because I've got this like crow's nest room. The only downside is that like I live on my computer, and so by having it in the living room, I'm still kind of part of what's going on when Chelsea's home. And if I put it up in the attic, like I'm off in a hole by myself.
Right.
All right. Wait for him to pop back up. Nice.
There we go.
All right. Stream is up and running. So let's get going. So this is Dreadweald, a post-apocalyptic horror fantasy one-shot. It is going to be, PG-13 scary movie scary. So if there is anything, just throw something in chat, raise a hand, and be like, "Yeah, I'm not cool with this," and just let me know. And that's true for any of the content. Always feel free to be like, "Yeah, that's too much," and we'll pivot and do something else. So, the world of Dreadweald. So about 5 years ago, the world ended. And it was a traditional fantasy world with all sorts of dangers and terrors of its own. And everyone always worried about dragons and liches and devils and evil gods. But it wasn't any of those things. Almost overnight, the world ended in branches and shadows. All across every landmass on the planet, the trees and the forests rose up. Almost overnight, they grew and spread and pressed right to the edges of every humanoid civilization. They grew large and dark and twisted. These trees didn't bear fruit fit for eating. They weren't for making homes or building furniture or carving children's toys. These were sprawling, nightmarish, spindly titans that towered over every surface of the world. And out of the dark came monsters. You all are residents of Morden Clearing. Most towns now, anything smaller than like a major city, they've taken the name Clearing. It's become a very special signifier in this world. It means safety. It means bare patches of blue sky and sunshine and open fields. But maintaining a clearing is a lot of work, and it's a lot of danger. So you all are cutters. You have the difficult but essential job of pushing back the forest. Every day, apprentice cutters go out from the iron woven walls of the clearing, and they burn away the saplings that have sprung up overnight at the edges of the territory. You all are senior cutters. You take on the more difficult tasks, like, for example, clearing the road between one clearing and another. The road between Morden and Alden Clearing has become overgrown. There's regularly scheduled cutting, but for some reason it has swelled up even faster than usual. And so you all are tasked with burning, chopping, and otherwise getting this road between the clearings back on track, but also to investigate what exactly happened that made this area so overgrown so quickly. So, you all have been on the road from Morden Clearing for a day or so now. The areas closest to the clearings are fairly safe. They've been very well trimmed. You're starting to get out more into the wilds. Trees are looming up on each side, and none of the branches grow straight. They're twisted and spiked, and they drape on either side, creating a curtain of darkness. There are just barely glimmering lights on stone posts that have been planted along the road, and you can see the gray black earth where the ground here has been scorched over and over again. But you can also see where shrubs and brush and saplings are already starting to push up through the road around you. So your cart is rolling along, loaded up with huge vats of alchemical fire. And you'll notice each of you has some flasks of your own to use during combat. And you also have some healing potions so that you don't die. I'll introduce your two companions first. Your other two senior cutters, they're the less senior cutters. They're the newbies. You have Bernie, who is a nervous young halfling. They're in the back left there. And you all know Bernie used to be a very well-adjusted, essentially a pharmacist with a touch of magic. But when the world changed, his ability to understand the speech of animals became horrifying. And it has made him sort of anxious and fearful, but he is also the best alchemist in the clearing, and is on hand to help handle the alchemical fire and support you all during combat. You also have Pick. Pick is a master of a strange branch of bardic magic that uses a combination of sort of whispered words and gentle percussive sounds to create all manner of unusual effects. Mechanically, he is a College of Spirits bard, and we'll give you all kinds of interesting little powers as you go. But they're not leading the show. In the front, we have our two senior cutters. Gilderoy, describe your character and what are you doing as you head down the road here?
Gilderoy, pleasure to meet you. Very large in multiple respects, golden dragonborn. And what was the question again? What I'm doing as we're going along the way?
Yep.
Oh, honestly, probably at this point, muttering under my breath off and on about how close I was to retirement or something to that effect. Which is not a smart thing to do, we all know the tropes. But Gilderoy doesn't.
He's the Murtaugh of our group.
And I suppose I should also say, clad in chainmail, mace in one hand, shield in the other, holy symbol of Bahamut proudly displayed across my chest.
All right. And which is the preferred name of our other character here?
You can either call him Lokag or you can call him Root Smasher. I would not recommend trying to pronounce his last name Thunu Kalathi. You know, that's what I get for picking that name and not considering reading it out loud. So that's the last time I'm gonna do that. So yeah, either Lokag or Root Smasher.
And Give us a little description for Lokag, and what's Lokag doing as you all are leading
Yeah.
this cart down the road.
Yeah, Luke Hagg's a Goliath of typical size, 7'6", and 390 pounds, and very very scarred up. You can tell he's seen some stuff, and he's got his axe over his shoulder and is just staying very alert because he knows how dangerous this job is, and as anything can jump out at you at a moment's notice, and he's just always like, oh, always with the trees. Enough with the trees. The trees killed my entire tribe. I just want to destroy all the trees.
A not uncommon story for folks in this world, unfortunately. All right, so Bernie has been kind of just sort of casually pulling out various like alchemical herbicides and defoliants and things as you go, and just sort of like casually he'll pull out like a handful of like what look like salt crystals, and he'll throw them over a patch of vines, and the vines will like wither away. Or he'll like uncork a bottle and pour it out over a patch of little saplings that are starting to come through, and they'll all into flames. All right. So I'm going to have you all give me... Go ahead and give me each of you a perception check.
Oh, off to a great start. I got a 3.
That's a 19 for Root Smasher.
All right. So you all... Well, Gilderoy, what does your 3 represent?
I'm distracted hearing Root Smasher muttering about trees killing his family and remembering our introduction when I casually mentioned that when I was a kid, I used to like the trees and found out that was a bad topic of conversation.
So social awkwardness is distracting you. So Lokag, you have very acute senses when it comes to the sounds of the forest at this point. And you notice a couple of things. One, and this is of no surprise, but you all would know there are trees, which are sort of just the standard twisted, things that loom over you. But some of these trees are fully monsters themselves. They look innocuous, or at least as innocuous as a tree can look in this world, until you get too close, and then they will fully attack you with their branches, just like any sort of monster. And you're able to spot some of that telltale quivering in a couple of places out in the woods here, and you're able to just sort of identify there are definitely some of those sorts of trees out in the woods. What you also notice, roll some checks here. Oh yeah, you hear something louder than that. Off to the side, moving through the woods, you hear the distinct sound of things that are actually like mobile. Things that are pushing through the undergrowth and the bushes and branches. Something is pacing you all along the side of the road.
I'll stop the party and say, we're not alone. And so can I tell what direction the threat is coming from?
So assuming that the direction you're coming from is north, it is to the east.
Okay. And then I'll just slightly gesture in that direction, slowly look that way.
And just for reference, your buddy Pick the Bard can cast the light spell. Let's see. Yeah, can cast the light spell on one thing, and Pick is carrying a torch. If you'd like, or sorry, Birdie's carrying a torch. Pick can transfer the light spell to one of you if you'd like. As of right now, it's just centered on him.
Yeah, I could say, Pick, can you illuminate that area over there? Yeah, maybe there's like a stone or something you can pick up.
Yeah. So the light on him drops off. And all right. How far out do you want it? I would say that he can probably throw it 30-ish feet.
I mean, why not? I mean, assuming it can, yeah, we can light up as much of the area as possible. So
Yeah.
All right. I just have to switch to see what you all can see. Just at the edges of that illuminated area, you see what looks like a humanoid shape. Sort of. Well, I say humanoid. It is roughly the form of a person, but it's moving in a very animalistic way. Very almost like it's crawling through the brush, but the limbs are more exaggerated. Very, very exorcist crawling on the ceiling kind of motions.
Fun.
nope. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I'm tempted to use my detect good and evil, but I feel like I really don't even have to if it's in the woods.
Yeah, you would just know, and also by the fact of how dark it is out here. Although I love that you both chose races without dark vision.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, anything that is not on the road and isn't actively yelling for help is almost definitely a monster.
Okay.
Actually, I think what I'm going to do is turn my divine senses to the other side of the road to make sure there's not an ambush.
Ambush. Because they're plants. On the other side of the road, you just pick up. There are some of those sort of more malevolent active trees, but they, you know from experience that they don't move under their own power, and so if you don't approach them, they won't come out of the woods at you.
Okay. So at the very least, probably not something on this side of the road. If it is, it's far enough away that I can't sense it.
Okay. I'll gesture to Gildery, we're just gonna maybe try to sneak in on this thing and get a better look. Can I make a stealth check?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna. Not the worst, but yeah, probably not gonna be very effective.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's sort of not in your favor is that You've made it clear that you have sort of seen them at this point, and you do know, for the most part, these creatures are not super intelligent. They're running very much on like an animalistic level of understanding, but they are watching you very closely. And you hear this sound, and it's somewhere between like an insect sound and the sound of like a tree creaking in the wind.
Not good.
And so you hear these sounds starting to sort of increase in volume. You've got, you know, at this point you've only got a few seconds before they're going to come crashing out of the woods. Each of you can take sort of one action. What do you want to do?
Have I actually moved or?
Not yet. You all threw the rock sort of out into the woods. Otherwise,
Okay.
you are still by your cart. And you should go ahead and, if y'all will double check, see if you can move your tokens.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
We've learned from our weekly Roll20 sessions that those don't always necessarily work the way you're expecting them to.
Yeah.
All right. So your companions, Pick is going to cast Bless really quick. And that can target 3 creatures. So he's just going to hit all 3 of you. And
Awesome.
I have a Bless token. Is this it? Nope, that's flying.
And that's just a +4 to D20 rolls.
Yeah, plus D4.
Oh, plus D4. Okay.
Yeah. I have a new token set. It's supposed to be better.
At least that's what they told you.
Yep. Well, all right. In that case, I'll give each of you a yellow dot.
Works for me.
And he's going to get a concentrate. Bernie is going to ready an action. What are you guys doing?
I'm just gonna step forward in front of the horse. Seems like an important thing to do to protect the horse.
All right. Have you all named the horse, by the way?
What should we name the horse?
Is,
I don't-
is
I
that
don't-
too?
I don't know if Joe is aware of the saga of Horpins or...
I don't think I am.
Yeah, one of Ian's co-founders, he had in Red Dead Redemption 2 named Horpins, who met a very sudden demise, and now it's become like a meme within the community. So.
Well, then we have to.
Okay, so that's Horpins.
Worst
is a
case
bone
scenario,
roll. Doesn't
it
bode
lives
well.
up to its name and we just
Property.
drag the cart ourselves.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to have you all roll for initiative.
Oh, the dice are loving me today. I got a 2.
Truly brutal. All right, and a 5. Yep, y'all are not quick on the draw. Well, awkwardly, Bernie is up first, so his readied action is not going to do anything. Well, Bernie is an alchemist, so Bernie has special potions. Experimental elixirs. So I know he gets some for free. Each of you roll a d6 for me.
Ooh.
Roll a 6.
All right. So each of you has an experimental elixir. I almost said Auric. Gilderoy, you have an elixir of swiftness. When you want to use it, you can increase your walking speed by 10 for an hour. And Lokag, you got an elixir of transformation, which lasts 10 minutes and basically emulates the Alter Self spell.
Okay.
Which is a little strange in this context.
Yeah. Better look that up, but yeah.
Oh, does it give dark vision? No.
Oh, that'd be nice.
You can get
That would be so helpful.
well. You can get a magical natural weapon that gets a +1 to attack and damage, so that's nice.
I am a weapon now.
All right. So then on his turn, he's going to do the same thing again. He's going to ready an action to cast Firebolt on the first thing that comes running out of the woods. All right. Do a distance check. Yep. A patch of vines and branches with this sort of crackling sound rolls and twines its way across the ground.
Oh!
And it is going to animate all of this brush along the road. Within a 15-foot square. That doesn't look right. There we go. So Gilderoy and Horpins are both going to need to make strength checks or be restrained.
Woohoo! How's a 15 look?
15, you are fine. You managed to avoid getting entangled with the vines. That area is going to remain difficult terrain, though. And we're going to assume
That's fine. My target's right here.
we're going to assume that Horpins is a draft horse, not a riding or seahorse.
What about a war horse?
I don't. Oh, only an 8.
All the war horses are dead.
So it's just on the edge, but Horpins is entangled. All right, that was its action. Something else comes bounding out of the woods. It looks like a four-legged, like a parody of a bear or a wolf, but made of bark and vines. And it comes bounding out.
Oh, dang. That's movement speed, so...
Well, it's dashing on this first turn, so it doesn't get to attack
okay, that
yet.
makes sense. Okay.
Yikes.
It is going to go ahead. Bernie is going to drop a firebolt at it as it runs out. 17 to hit. It's only 6 on the die, but Bernie knows his stuff. Almost all of these creatures are weak to fire, so it takes 12 points of damage. 2 more creatures come dashing out of the woods. You see the spindly creature that you had seen moving before. It and sort of forward crab walks is the only way I can explain it. The joints are like not working the correct way, but it seems to be made of woven vines and branches with this twisted humanoid face. The other one is massive. It just sort of bounds out. It is even larger than Lokag and just thump, thump, thump. But does not make it all the way to one of you. So Pick is up next. Pick's already got Bless up. Pick is going to use one of his Tales from Beyond. Lokag, roll a d12.
3.
A 3. Oh, all right. Tale of the Beloved Friends. The target and another creature of its choice it can see within 5 feet of it gains temporary hit points equal to 1 roll of the Bardic die plus Constitution modifier. In that case, Gilderoy, roll a d8 and add a 3.
Oh boy. Two. I really like those 2s apparently, so 5.
Yep. So each of you gets 5 temporary hit points.
Yay!
All right, Lokag, you are up.
All right. Well, sight of all these moving trees just pisses Lokag off, so he will enter a rage. All right, and he's gonna start with that little one that's standing right next to him. That's a lot of bonuses to add now. Okay. Oh, dang, yeah. So 8 plus 1d4. 16 to hit.
All right. 16 will hit.
12 plus is 9 slashing damage. And then he will take a second attack if it's still standing.
Yep.
Yep. The 22, it will take an additional 12 slashing damage.
Nice. Also, if you would like to roll through D&D Beyond, there's a game log now, and it'll just pop up all your rolls to everybody.
Okay.
Also, go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw. When you slash into this thing, it starts to spill out this thick, black, noxious sap like blood. And it smells awful.
It's an unnatural 20.
All right, you managed to resist. This is not the first time you have opened one of these creatures up. All right, that's action and bonus action. Gilderoy, what are you doing?
Wishing that this other thing had gotten closer. No, I'm just gonna smack this one that's right next to me because, hi. So I'll swing at it with my Morning Star, and that's a 1. Apparently Bahamut is asleep today. But I get 2 attacks per round, so second swing is a natural 4, so that's a 12.
Did you include your 1d4?
Oh, plus the 1d4. Right.
All right, all you needed was one more, so that hits.
Nice.
Yay. So that will be... And I am going to Divine Smite on this.
All right,
So
awesome.
that will...
I said, all right, awesome.
So base damage will be 9 Morning Star damage, 9 piercing. Plus I will burn a first level spell, so that'll be an extra 2d8. For an additional 9 damage, 9 radiant damage.
So what was that total?
Let's see. Pull up that log. It'll be a total of 18.
Very nice. Your mace comes down, burning with this white holy flame, and just... it's not even like it pushes it aside, like the physical impact. It just like burns it away everywhere it hits. And Bernie yells out from the back, "Oh, yeah, that's an assassin vine. Those are real bad, real bad." Also,
Thank you.
I don't know if you noticed, I dropped you an amulet of the devout, so you have an
I
extra
did notice.
channel divinity. So, all right, and Bernie, having yelled that, it is Bernie's turn. Bernie is going to drop. Yeah, Bernie's going to drop a flaming sphere because Bernie really doesn't like this thing. Oh. There we go. Drops the burning sphere on it. It's going to make a dexterity save. And it makes it with a +0. That's not fun. So it's going to take half as much damage. So it's going to take 7 because it's vulnerable. All right. That makes it the Assassin Vine's turn. It's going to try and constrict Gilderoy.
Bring it.
It's only a 15 to hit.
That will not hit.
These, like, you notice there are these horrible thorns on these vines, and they just sort of rake across your armor, but aren't able to find purchase. The large bestial creature is now going to attack. It's going to make a bite attack against Lokag. Only an 8. Low rolls are hitting them as well. Oh, whoops, nope. But it has pack tactics. And a natural 1.
Ooh.
All right, then. The smaller humanoid figure is going to make a claw attack against Lokag. It's a 16 to hit.
That hits.
All right. Snake Eyes. This jagged branch rakes across you. It deals 5 points of slashing damage. And you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, that's an 8.
You are paralyzed as some of this noxious sap gets into your wounds.
Great.
Invisible, incapacitated, frightened. Oh. Can't even read these. They're very small. We'll go with that. It's not actually what that is, but it's got a P on it. All right, the other creature goes. It is going to try and close in. So. And the vine is actually impeding its progress. It is charging towards Gilderoy, but cannot make it through all the brush.
You've activated my trap card.
On Pick's turn, Pick is going to use Vicious Mockery on this giant beast next to him. So it's going to make a Wisdom save. And it gets an 18, so nothing happens. All right, Lokag, you're up.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Is there a check I can make to unparalyze?
Yes. So that's going to be at the end of your turn.
Okay.
And just give me another Constitution saving throw.
All right. That's even worse.
Oh, no. You have Bless. Plus 1d4 on saves.
Yes, I do. Okay. I forgot to do that. A 4. Okay, so that makes 11.
That's all you needed. It's
Nice.
a particularly nasty effect, but is normally pretty easy to resist for someone of your constitution. So that is the end of your turn, though. So, Gilderoy, you're up.
All right. I need to ask a question. I was unable to get the new rules for Dragonborn onto Gilderoy's character sheet. Is it okay to still use the new rules for breath weapons?
Yeah, and I'll actually fix that right now.
All right, perfect. Because that fool wandered into breath weapon range, so now I can get both of them. So I will need the Assassin Vine and whatever the humanoid thing is to give me, what is a dexterity saving throw?
I believe so.
You have dexterity save of 14.
And you are now the correct kind of Dragonborn.
Yay!
It gets a natural 3.
And the other one.
Oh, that's right. You're in range of 2.
Like I said, it activated my trap card.
It's going to get a 13.
Both fail. So they both take full damage. So that's 6 fire damage.
They're each going to take 12.
That's what I thought. And with the new breath weapon rules, that is one of my 2 attacks for the turn.
Yep, they finally made Dragonborn kind of good.
So I will swing my Morningstar. Oh, does a 23 hit?
Yeah, I think so.
I will do 8 damage to it.
All right, 8 more damage. You are carving a pretty good swath out of this thing. It's a very large mass of plants, but you are making your way through. All right, anything else?
That's what I'm trying to think. How's Lokag looking from where I am?
I mean, he's swarmed, but all he's lost so far is his temporary hit points, so he's fine.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm not going to worry about any bonus actions.
All right. Then that brings us up to Bernie's turn. Bernie is still focus firing on this Assassin Vine. He's going to drop a firebolt. It's going to hit for 4 points of damage, but that'll be 8. And it's going to... They're going to attack with the Flaming Sphere, which will hit this time. Whoops, and I forgot about the Alchemical Savant. Yeah, actually, that's going to do way more damage. Um, so, 16. And to catch up with damage from last turn, that's actually an extra 20 fire damage. Because Bernie adds +4 to a single roll of every fire spell. So,
Nice.
all right. It is very hurt, but it is not quite dead yet. And then it's going to make another attempt to constrict. That's a 23 that time.
Okay, yeah, that one works.
That's 7 points of bludgeoning damage. And you are now grappled and restrained.
How rude.
There's restrained. There's grappled. And Bernie yells, "Oh, we need to get him out of that. That's real bad. Real bad." And it is the Beast Shield creature's turn. It is going to make another attack on Lokag with advantage, which I'll remember up front this time. You're kidding me. That's a nat 4 and a nat 1.
Ah.
All right. The two humanoid creatures go. Since you resisted the claw, the other one is going to... so it tries to bite you with its barky mouth. That's a 15 to hit on Lokag.
That hits.
All right. Whew. 16 piercing damage.
I'm fine.
The other one finally makes a step forward, and it's going to get to attack Gilderoy with advantage.
Yes, it does.
That's a 21 to hit.
Ow.
It's 11 points of slashing damage. You need to make a Constitution saving throw.
15.
You resist. There is some more of that black sap rolling off of its branches, but you are unaffected. All right. Pick isn't loving this. Pick is going to cast... What is Pick going to cast? Or don't know.
Water breathing. We totally need water breathing right now.
Pick is going to use, just going to go with Vicious Mockery on the big beastie one. Which it actually fails. 5 points of psychic damage. More importantly, it's going to have disadvantage on its next attack. All right, Lokag, you're up.
All right. Lokad's gonna just keep chopping at this little guy here. Ooh, well, that's okay. Let me get my D4 out there. That's gonna be a 12 to hit.
12 just barely misses.
Okay. Second attack. 15 to hit. All right, great. All right. Takes 7 slashing damage.
Is that including your rage damage?
I believe so because I'm rolling it through D&D Beyond, and I did. Let me see here.
Here. Actually, I know how to fix this for you.
Actually, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't include. So yeah, I'll just yeah. So that would be 9 slashing. So
Well, that's weird. Why isn't the rage item coming in?
that's okay. So yeah, we'll just yeah. So it's 9 slashing.
And you've hit it a couple times before, right?
Yeah, I did get 2 successful hits the previous time. So if you want to add 4 more to
Yeah,
that,
so that actually is going to
free.
bring it down.
Yeah.
All right. You cleave through, and it just comes apart into this pile of like sappy, viscous bark and vines. All right. That's attacks. Oops, you're no longer paralyzed. All right. Gilderoy, what you doing?
Well, since Bernie is very upset about the assassin vine, I guess I'm going to keep attacking it.
Oh, yeah.
For his.
You're going to discover why. At the top of your turn,
Oh.
At the top of your turn, you take 22 poison damage. The vines compress, driving the thorns up under your armor, and you can feel as the thorns press through your scales and this poison begins to press into your bloodstream.
Shenanigans.
All right. I think you can use an action to break the grapple.
I could, or I could just kill it.
This is true. You are restrained, though.
And remind me what restraint does? It gives me disadvantage?
Yeah, disadvantage on attack rolls.
Well, in that case, why give me an attack roll? I'll just do another breath weapon and hit both of them.
All right.
So they'll need to give me a dexterity save again.
Assassin Vine fails. It is going to go up in flames. And big guy gets a nat 20.
Okay. So then that means the vulnerability and the half damage cancel out, and he takes a full 17.
So it is very hurt. There is fire. You all know, like, in this world now, plants are much sturdier than they used to be. They don't burn easily, but it is definitely like steaming and sizzling and starting to catch fire at the edges. The assassin vine just fully goes up into ashes.
And presumably with it dead, I'm no longer restrained.
You are not.
So then I can use my Morning Star on the other one.
Go for it.
13 to hit.
13 will hit, and you didn't need it, but you also still have your 1d4.
Ah, right. That's not a one-time thing. Alright, so that'll be 10 damage.
All right, 10 points of damage is going to drop it. The only thing standing now is the bestial creature in between Pick and Lokag.
Alright. Is this still difficult terrain?
It makes sense that it wouldn't be now. With the assassin vine dead, you see it. The brush doesn't go away, but it just kind of like goes back to sort of limp, normal as plant life gets in this world. So it is Bernie's turn. Bernie is going to dooba-dooba bow. Bernie is going to come down to you and use a 2nd level Cure Wounds.
Oh, appreciate it.
He's going to use 1st level because he gets a bonus, so it's more efficient. 9 points of healing. He rolled a 1 on the die. He gets a +8 and got a 1 on the die.
I still appreciate it.
All right. The big critter is going to go. Really loves campaign 3. That's a 12 to hit, and it no longer has advantage, so that does not hit. Pick is up. Oh, and it had disadvantage on that attack anyway. It passes its vicious mockery save. Lokag, you're up. One thing left standing.
All right. All right. I would like to recklessly attack.
All right.
Where's my button?
If
There it
you
is. All right.
if you right click on D&D Beyond, you can change it to advantage, and it'll roll together.
Very good. Okay, and I'm glad I did that because. Oh wait. So, did it? Okay, I guess it didn't. So that was a 1. So I'll do my other roll for this attack. Much better. 19
There
to
you go.
hit. All right. And then I roll 1 on the Okay, so that makes all right. Did you? No. Okay, never mind. So
No, I
that's
can't
gonna be.
figure out why it's
That's
not.
okay. That's okay. So that's gonna be 8 slashing damage,
All right, and you got
and I'll
another
make
attack.
I'll make a second attack. Yeah, let's see if I get the advantage turn on this time. Oh well. Okay, well, unnatural 20, but just for fun, we'll. Yeah. Okay. So it's gonna hit. There we go. For 16 slashing damage.
I know why it's not popping up. Yeah. Apparently, in the character creator, if homebrew content isn't turned on, I can't even drop homebrew items into your inventory.
What?
There we go. Barbarian Rage.
Oh, 'cause
last
it's,
turn. So if you hit
it's a +1
refresh, you
great
now have
axe.
an item
Yeah.
you can switch on and off.
Yeah.
Okay, and how much was the damage on the next one? Jeez.
That was 16 slashing damage
you.
for the second.
How do you want to finish this thing?
Oh man, just have the axe go like straight down the middle and just sticks like right into its theoretical tree brain. I don't know, and so then just like falls, and then like I'm trying to like pull it out, just like having to put a foot on it, just and some sap goes everywhere, and yeah.
All right. Yeah, you cleave into this thing. It just comes apart and falls into brush and dead plant matter. As soon as the fight is over, Bernie goes around and sort of attaches a hose to a giant vat on the cart and just starts like flamethrowering all down this path.
Fair. Limb check. Everyone still have their arms?
Yeah.
Bernie and Pick didn't get hit at all, right?
No.
Okay. Lokag, how you doing?
I'm a bit scratched up, but I'm not bleeding just yet. Let's see. Do you want actual numbers or?
Sure.
I'm currently missing 16 hit points.
I give Lokag a slap on the back because that's how I do lay on hands and get 10 back.
And while you're doing that, Bernie is going to come back over and drop another Cure Wounds. There we go. For 14 more points of healing for Gilderoy.
Okay, so I assume I'm at full health now between the two of those. So.
Oh, sorry. He was doing that on Gilderoy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, so what was the lay on hands?
I had done 10. I can give you more if you want.
No. 10 is plenty. Thank you.
All right. Is there anything
Might be a
y'all
good
wanna-
idea.
Anything else y'all want to do sort of in the aftermath here?
I don't know, just survey the area and no other signs of threats from where we're standing.
There's nothing actively moving. Everyone give me a nature or survival check.
16 survival.
14 survival.
All right. So
Oh,
you all,
forgot the D4, but whatever. Yeah.
oh yeah. So you all would know this. You've been doing this for a while. You have sort of an intuitive grasp of how quickly these areas grow back. And this road has been a little neglected. This road to Alden. There's another road from Morden to the Raylet clearing, which is much better maintained because Raylet is a stopping point on the road to Templet, the city of Rust, which is like the nearest sort of large fortress town. So there's a lot of traffic that goes that way. So this road hasn't been super well maintained, but that just means it's been like a couple of months since someone has come this way. And this is too much. The amount of vegetation, and especially the scale of the creatures, is very surprising. Usually, with this amount of neglect, you would expect like twig blights, things that would be very dangerous for like a supply caravan, but wouldn't bother you all at all. But these things are much, much larger. This seems like things you would find in an area that's been uninhabited for years. There's something unusual happening here.
So this is remind me. We're coming from Morden, going towards what'd you say, Alden?
Yes, Morden to Alden, and basically there's two roads out of town. One goes to Alden and hasn't been traveled a whole lot lately, and one goes towards Raylet and then on to Templet. And
Are,
go ahead.
are there any other roads out of Alden?
Let me think. Yeah, there'd be a few roads connecting it to other places.
Okay, because my immediate thought was, is Alden still okay?
I mean, that is a legitimate concern. Travel tends to be done during certain seasons. It's easier to travel in the fall and winter, especially the fall. Winter, you start to get sort of wintry conditions, but in fall and winter both, the plants are more docile. They don't have the energy to spare, and in the winter especially, they get the snow and ice will like bring down branches and sort of help clear it away a little bit naturally. So you all are in probably early fall. So you're kind of preparing for sort of the caravan season, and this is more than you've seen before for sure.
Yeah. I assume we get assigned to these roads. Like, is there like intelligence that we receive from, our bases of operations on what's going on out here, or
So you received your your orders from Wall Commander Dovit, who, I mean, Wall Commander is a really like intense phrase. There's about a dozen like full time cutters, but there's probably another 20 or 30 volunteers. It's one of those things where like every able person does a little bit as they can. But you all are kind of the vanguard. You all are the ones who go and get the initial information. So as far as you know, you haven't heard anything from Alden since last fall. fall or winter. Right around spring, the city's kind of batten down the hatches.
Okay. So not hearing is normal.
Pretty much. But the state of the road certainly isn't.
Right.
Okay. There's nothing else anybody wants to do. Should we just continue moving down the road?
I think so.
All right. Let's form up. Yes. Yes. Everyone protect Horpins.
I had to copy you all to be able to drop you on the next map. With Dungeon Alchemist, it'll take me literally 2 or 3 minutes snap.
Very nice.
They're super high resolution, take a minute to load.
Uh-huh.
If we had a full battalion, I might have been willing to go off-road to try and find the source of those monsters, but not just the 4 of us.
All right, so further down the road, there is a way stop. It's a small outpost that is typically very reinforced, and it's usually your halfway mark. Once you get there, you can take a long rest in safety, and kind of get yourself back together before you head into the next area. You turn around. Das Cart. Oh. There we go. Gilderoy was stuck under the cart.
Don't question my napping spot.
So you find yourselves a little bit further down the road, and you know that this is sort of there's a small cluster of buildings. It's basically just like a house for the attendants, a small, to call it a tavern is a very strong phrase. It's basically like a dining hall where long-term supplies are stockpiled for travelers. And there's also a smith. And while this seems sort of random, partially it's to be able to repair, if like a cart was to break down, you needed to make components, if you need weapons. But more importantly, you all would know, these things hate fire and they hate iron.
Mm-hmm.
And as strange as it sounds, a smithy, for some reason, has proved particularly repellent. Something about the recurring act of stoking flames and heating metal seems to keep these things back as well as just about anything. So most settlements have at least a small smithy for that purpose. All right. So you find yourself at sort of the outskirts, getting closer to this little outpost. And once again, everybody give me a perception check.
$17.
19.
All right. You all have the Han Solo moment. You've got a bad feeling about this. This pattern of overgrowth has continued all the way through. And it's just sort of been nagging at the back of your mind, like, if the road is this bad, what have the people at the outpost been doing? Because normally they would, they would be sort of keeping up at least some of the road. But you see no signs of travelers. You see no. Again, this looks like it's been abandoned for at least a full turn of seasons. And as you sort of round the bend that cuts through this little outpost, you see that, sure enough, the outpost looks very overgrown. Normally, there's like a 100+ foot radius of clearing around this cluster of buildings, and you can see that the tree line is pressed almost all the way up to the buildings. And actually, the only reason you can even see that you're close is that there is a slightly larger buffer around the smithy that causes a notable gap in the trees. What do you guys want to do?
Can we move straight forward into the area, or do we need to like cut through some like foliage in our path?
Because the road has been burned down so thoroughly so many times, it's a little bit slower to regrow. Usually, and Bernie has probably told you about this in more detail than you wanted to know, they use a special compound that burns. It doesn't just burn the surface, but it scorches down through multiple layers of earth. And so it's killing off all of these things that are helping. So there's no seeds buried. There's no insect life. There's not even a lot of the things in the soil that help plants to thrive are burned away.
Okay.
So the road is still relatively clear. If you didn't have like a sort of reinforcement, it would be hard to get down.
Okay. Investigate the cabin.
Do you want to go?
And I will be following.
Do you want to bring the whole cart? Do you want to leave the cart?
I mean, I can do that. I think I can do that myself as long as the rest of the party is with it. So that's going to be a 10.
Oh, you're sneaking. Okay.
Oh well, no, I'm investigating. But,
okay.
Yeah. I probably should sneak, but I'm not that smart. So.
All right, investigation. Here's what I'll say. Roll with advantage, because I think Bernie is honestly just not shutting up about this. So you know sort of things to be looking for.
Okay, well, yeah, it's not going to get much better, so 10.
All right. On a 10, you're mostly catching things. How close do you want to get?
I mean,
I'll let you.
I'll
sort
walk
of
right up
place
to
your
it as long
token.
if there's no yeah I should I keep forgetting I have that. So yeah, if there's no signs of life, I'll get like right up to it. See what I can see.
Give me just 1 second. I'm going to reload roll 20.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it does a weird thing, and it won't let me look through your all's line of sight. It totally closed the window. All right. So with that roll, you're getting up close. Even with that roll, one thing sticks out. It's still doing it. Don't know why. So it's hard for me to see what you can see. So getting up this close and knowing sort of what you know, you see something odd here. So there's a little bit of range around the smithy that's clear, but even along the edges of the road, there are. It takes you a second to figure out what they are. There are these. At first, you think they're like fallen trees. They're so thick, and they're laying on the side of the road. They're covered in sort of. They have this very thick wood texture, and you have to really look closely at it to realize these are roots. These are roots as big around as a person. And you've been doing this long enough, you can see that the roots they're way too big for the trees you're seeing around here. They're massive. And they seem to connect. And they're leading off out further into the woods.
All right. I guess I'll, walk back to the party and tell them doesn't look good. I think the overgrowth became too much for the people that were staying here.
It's a really bad sign.
Yeah. We can. I haven't checked the other two buildings. We can if you want, or we can just try to keep moving on.
Let's check the other buildings.
All right.
I don't want. If there's anybody here that needs our help, I don't want to leave them behind.
Agreed, but everybody stay close. So
Yes.
let's try to move the whole party up the path.
All right. Just need to drop something. All right. So you're up investigating the buildings.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with the mess hall.
Yep.
They're definitely not going to let you get too far from the cart because if something happens to it, one, it will cause a massive explosion. Two, you all will be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you want to go about investigating these other places?
No,
Mess
actually,
hall
come to
first?
think of it, yeah. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I never actually went inside the cabin. Do you want to actually look inside the buildings? I mean,
Yeah, I think we
long-
should.
as long as nothing's being triggered by it, yeah. Yeah, head back to the cabin and look for a way in.
All right. So you all almost immediately notice something very ominous. The smithy is fully intact, but the other two buildings are missing sections of wall.
There's a way in.
Yeah, didn't think that corner was supposed to be open.
Okay, this is not good.
And you can see where the plant life and sort of the outdoors have started to intrude already What should be sort of the sleeping quarters is already there's already plants sort of popping up around the edges. The sort of mess hall area has held up a little bit better, but not much.
Is there anything inside the sleeping quarters that we can get any ideas from, or?
You'll have to go take a look.
All right, yeah, I'll step inside.
Yeah, I think you're down at the smithy right now.
Oh, is that the? Oh, okay. No
Let me
wonder.
drop tags. Because you all would.
Yeah, because I assumed that was the cabins. That's why I kept going there first. But yeah. Okay. Okay, well, because I said the cabin and we can see it, so yeah, I'll just start there. So.
All right. So you can see that, yeah, sections of the walls have sort of fallen in here. There are things sort of growing in and out of the building. Give me another investigation check.
All right, 12, and I'll add my D4. Or wait, no, wait, I don't think that's going anymore. Actually,
No, it's only a minute.
Okay, so yeah, 12.
12. With a 12, yeah, there's no way you would miss this. There are smaller strands of those thick roots have pressed into the edges of this room. And you can actually see the corner you're in is where several of the cots were arranged. And almost vine-like, the roots have grown up and over the cots. And when you look more closely, there are bones in the cots. And the rotted remains of clothing and blankets. It looks like these roots pressed in and just grew right into the beds, and then expanded, like they grew and pressed outward. Like there was maybe a small hole at first, and then just pushed the wall out to either side as they grew. While that's happening, Gilderoy, what are you doing?
I am going to see if we can't get the cart into the smithy, because that seems like a smart, safe choice.
Yeah, I think that's very doable. With everyone kind of working together, the horse, Horpins, isn't thrilled, but has been sort of well trained and goes along. And the smithy has a larger area for basically moments like this, to be able to bring in like a wagon to work on. You're able to bring them inside.
And then step 2 is I'm going to see if Bernie can get I'm assuming that the forge is currently out, so I'm going to see if Bernie thinks he can get it going again.
All right. Bernie is inside and starts messing around, and soon enough there's a bit of a fire going. Pick is not going to let y'all leave him outside, so he comes in as well. And it's right about here when you all hear thud. Boom. Boom. Something huge is moving outside.
Can we tell which direction it's coming from?
It is east of you, northeast of the smithy. So it's to the other side.
Oh, my word. I'm going to quickly run back to the smithy. I guess I'm dashing over there as quickly as I can.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. That's a 6.
You don't make it quite that far.
Okay.
Do it this way, it's easier.
Oh no. Okay. Hey, so you want me to like right here or something?
Yep, you make it to right about there.
Okay.
The roots that were pressing out of this cabin suddenly snap to life as the smithy, as you suddenly move and the smithy is flaring up, and you get to right about there, and they wrap around your ankles, and you are now restrained. And with that, I'm going to have everybody roll for initiative.
Another day at the office.
Oops.
16.
All right.
And for Lokag.
Gilderoy, you are first. So you are inside. You hear these massive footsteps outside. Horpins is like letting out these pathetic whinnying sounds. What are you doing?
Where is the door? Is it just this one on the northeast corner?
Let's see. Door. Yes.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can get outside just far enough to see what's going on.
And if you'd like to, you could dash and go another 30.
I
So you
could.
can see there is this writhing mass of roots and branches, and Lokag is restrained at the edges. And make a perception check.
14.
With a 14, you can just barely see. You would almost mistake it for another tree, except that it is clearly moving. Something incredibly tall is moving off in the distance.
Oh, good. That's promising. I will relay all of that information to Pick and Bernie, and particularly emphasize Lokag is down. We need to get Lokag in here. And then I guess I will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dash further to here.
All right.
And do I have any bonus actions? Yes, I will cast Shield of Faith on Lokag. I think he's in range.
All right.
Oh, definitely in range. So that's +2 to your armor as long as I maintain concentration.
Yay, thank you.
One minute. Okay. Yeah, it's weird that your channel divinity is an action. That seems really like punishing, but
Yeah.
all right. So Pick is going to run out. Pick is going to. Save that. Pick is going to just try and vicious mockery the plant that has Lokag restrained here. Oops. Roll a dexterity check, which is not what's happening. It fails. It's going to take 7 points of psychic damage. And it's going to have disadvantage on its next attack. All right, Lokag, you are up. You are grappled and restrained? Yes, grappled and restrained. You can use your action to break free.
Well, First, I'm pissed off, so I'll use my bonus action to rage,
All
and
right.
then I will make a strength check. Or
Yeah.
strength. Oh wait, I think I pushed the wrong. Oh, I pushed save, but it was supposed to be a check, so that's a different bonus. So darn it, now I have to waste this natural 20.
Yeah, I'll let it ride. It'd be about the same.
Okay,
And
great.
you'd roll with advantage also because you're raging. So
Okay,
yeah, you break free as your action. Bonus action to
okay.
rage. Do you want to move any?
Well, that's gonna.
It is
I
difficult
assume it's
terrain.
gonna trigger an attack of opportunity, but
No, you're not. You're not in melee range. So, and you're
okay,
moving towards, not away.
yeah, okay. Um, and those, based on my knowledge, these things are immobile, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try to squat back up. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Wait, I'll just squat up over here. So,
All right. All right. Bernie's turn. Bernie has just enough movement to get outside. Bernie is at least able to assure you these are not exactly the same as the assassin vines, even though they're using the same token. Whew. With a firebolt, Bernie does 34 points of damage and just
Nice.
obliterates the first one. He just
nice.
like mixes up like a couple of like pours a vial into another vial, and you see that it immediately starts like foaming and sparking, and he throws it like a Molotov cocktail, and it. All right. Now the thing in the distance is moving.
Oh my.
Oh, hi.
Yes,
I was
what
looking
is
in the wrong direction.
You see this thing sort of like peek around the building and then slowly stomp forward. And each step is slow, but it's such a large step. It covers 80 feet coming towards you all.
Mm.
This creature is fully dead. This one, nothing's in reach. Gilderoy, you're up.
Um, does that thing look like anything I've ever encountered before?
Give me a nature check.
I was close to rolling a 0.
I kind of feel like we've established at this point that like Gilderoy doesn't really pay attention to any of this stuff. He just like kills these things. You vaguely recall you have fought like one of these before, and it was a very difficult clearing, a very difficult cutting, and it was like deep woods.
Okay. This is definitely not right. This is definitely wrong. Um, I'm gonna channel divinity. Um, sacred weapon.
All right.
So that's my action, and then I'm gonna start moving back towards the smithy. Hoping that the smithy's protection, works.
Let's see. All right. Pick is up. Yeah, Pick doesn't love that thing. Pick is going to. Gilderoy, roll me a d12, please.
11.
11. Let's see what 11 is. Tales from Beyond. Oh, that's actually useful for you. It's a D8. Oh, there we go. You're back to full health.
Oh, nice.
Pick mutters this low word and then hits a drum, and you just feel this pulse of healing energy run through you. And then Pick is going to back up to still kind of be in a useful position, but a little bit further out of range. Maybe even hide behind this rock. Lokag, you are up.
All right, I'm gonna maneuver 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 feet, and I'll pull out one of those alchemy flasks,
All right.
fire flasks. Yeah, and I'll give it a chuck, and that requires 1d4 fire damage roll. Or did you make some kind of check? Or I guess
Give me a ranged
throwing
attack
action?
like you're throwing a hand axe.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okie doke.
I'm going to give you proficiency because it seems like you all would be proficient with these.
21 to hit.
21 hits. Let's go ahead and roll 1d4 for the first part of damage. All right.
Okay, that's 4 damage. Fire damage.
So it's going to be 8, and it splatters across this thing. But you see that it's not really liquid. It's almost like a viscous, somewhere between like a liquid and a gel. And it sort of paints this thing, and where it falls across it, it just keeps burning.
Nice.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it for now.
All right. It is Bernie's turn. And Bernie's going to get a better angle. And is going to shoot a firebolt. And misses by 1.
Oh.
All right. The creature has a target in range now. It doesn't need to get that close. It steps to there and just brings a massive branch arm down towards you. It's an 18 to hit.
Yeah, that's definitely hitting.
That's 14 points of bludgeoning damage. And another 18 to hit.
Oh,
For 23 points of bludgeoning damage.
23.
Yep.
Hey, I'm definitely bloodied.
Were you raging?
Technically, I think the rage ended because I hadn't. Well, I mean,
You dealt
how do we
damage.
want to argue? Yeah.
Yeah, you'd still be raging, so you take half that.
Okay, so what was it? So the first hit was 14. The second one was
23.
23. So that'd be a total of.
So you'll get back 18 points.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw your
Okay.
health go down, and I was like, wait a minute. What?
Still bloody.
Still
Yeah.
bloodied, but not quite as
Yeah.
bloodied.
Yeah.
All right. So Gilderoy, you hear these massive double impacts as Lokag gets smashed. What do you want to do?
All right, when the mages start stepping out instead of stepping into cover, then the paladin can't go back to cover. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a move. There's a dash. Do I have a bonus action? Not if I want to keep Shield of Faith up.
Oh yeah, we should also mark that, but it got an 18, so you wouldn't. Would not have helped anyway yet. And for Shield of Faith, we're just going to use the cover. All right. It is Pick's turn. Yeah, it gets close enough. Pick is going to use Bless again, so everybody gets their 1d4. Getting to add Bless to his spell list was really good.
Yeah.
That is a party-minded NPC right there.
Yeah. Well, I meant for both of them to be that way, but I kind of forgot how ridiculous alchemists are when they deal fire damage. So that was his action. Yeah, this thing's real big. No, he'll wait because he's got to use an action for that. Lokag, you're up.
All right. Lokag's gonna move in because, yeah, F everything at this point.
Oh, also give me a d4 for the alchemist fire damage.
Yes.
Because it attacked you instead of getting rid of it, so.
Or yeah.
All right.
Again.
Yeah, 8 more points of damage. These are not insignificant, like, burns. This thing is really... It's just... It doesn't have the sense of self-preservation to, like, try and stop and get this off. All right, so what you doing?
All right, yeah, I'm just gonna go for it, raging with a great axe. All right, let me add my d4 there. Okay, that's 14 to hit.
That hits.
All right. Rolled a natural 1. All right, he takes 8 slashing damage. And a second attack. Adding the d4, 16 to hit.
16 will hit.
Okay. All right, that's 10 slashing damage.
Double check. So, 8. Oh, hit refresh? What in the world happened? Yeah, on D&D Beyond.
Beyond.
I think that it didn't. I dropped the item in, but it doesn't refresh unless you actually refresh the page. So you deal a total of 18 because it wasn't adding your rage. It should.
Oh, I see what you did there. Okay. Okay.
All right. So that's 2 attacks. Do you have a bonus action? I guess you could frenzy if you wanted to.
I could, and you know what? It's a one shot, so yeah, let's frenzy. You know, let's just go for it.
All right. Attack number 3.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Nice. Definitely hits.
All right. Come on. Oh, okay. Well, not horrible. 11 slashing damage.
That one's it's adding correctly now, so it's not.
Oh, okay. So that's 9 slashing damage. Okay.
All right. It is looking really bad.
Yeah, it is.
All right. That's the end of your turn. It is Bernie's turn. And Bernie is going to drop a firebolt on it. 22 to hit. Holy crap. 30 points of fire damage. And Bernie's also going to use... going to make sure he's in range. He's going to use Healing Word on Lokag. 11 points of healing.
Thank you, tiny friend.
So he basically like throws. It's like a water balloon of healing potion at you. All right. It is the creature's turn. Go ahead and give me another D4 for the alchemist fire. Six more points. It looks very bad. But it is not dead yet. It had to kind of squeeze awkwardly there. It clips the edge of the building. And it's going to Great Club, get one to Gilderoy and one to Lokag. Whew, that's a 27 to hit on Gilderoy.
Ow.
Bring it.
That's 26 points of damage to Gilderoy.
Okay, I would like to use Stone's
No,
Endurance.
this is to Gilderoy, not to Lokag.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Now
It's a
against
good thing I
Lokag.
got healed earlier.
Yeah. And a 17 to hit against Lokag, which is exactly your AC with Shield of Faith. So that is also going to hit. 21 points of damage. Now you can use Stone's Endurance.
Yeah.
All right. That makes it.
So I'm also blessed. So, no wait, but that doesn't count. So yeah, so that'll be 12 points less. So yeah.
So
you said it was
9 points.
21 total.
I would say.
So it's 21 minus 12, correct?
Well, let me double check something. Okay. So your resistance is applied last. So you're going to take half of 9. So you take 4 points of damage.
Okay. Yeah.
You all just see this moment of just titanic strength as Lokag just like partially deflects this club and is hardly hit. While when Gilderoy gets hit, you hear a massive like clank as his armor dents in places.
There's a bit of a crater beneath me now.
Yep. But Gilderoy,
Do you even lift, bro?
it is your turn.
Okay. First things first, I'm using my last breath weapon of the day.
All right.
So a dex save of 14.
It fails. It is super hurt.
All right. And then swing my Morning Star, and I need to add 1 to this thanks to Sacred Weapons. So it's actually 11 and my D4.
All right.
13.
Gets you over the edge. That's going to hit.
14. Yeah. I can math. Either way, it hits.
All right.
So that's 9 points of damage, and I am going to burn another spell for a Divine Smite. Let's burn a 2nd level spell this time, so an extra 3d8 damage. Really?
That's all right. How do you
So
want to finish it?
18. So I light its face on fire with my breath, and as it's reeling back, I kind of swing my dented shield to push its club out of the way, and then follow the shield behind with my mace, catching it across the burning face.
All right. So you're going sort of like full Attack on Titan here, because this thing's face is like 20 feet in the air. So you're like, you sort of knock it to one knee, and you're able to sort of run up one of these trunk-like arms, and just like, and the head just cracks, and it doesn't even hit the ground. It just like disintegrates and burns in the air. And there is a long, ponderous moment, and then it hits the ground, and it's almost like it becomes brittle before it even hits the ground. And it just breaks apart into fragments of wood in every direction. You all see that root back there is still sort of writhing around. With this creature dead, it seems like this area is relatively safe for the moment. So, I'm going to say you all can take a long rest in the shelter of the smithy. And we'll take like a 5-minute potty break, and then we'll be back.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Joe, are you there?
I am here.
All right. So make sure you hit long rest, and because Pick is an inspiring leader, each of you gains 8 temporary hit points.
Nice.
All right. So as you all are resting, um, there is a sense of worry at this point. Whatever is happening here is far more than just trying to clear the road. The amount of overgrowth here is astounding, and the rate that it seems to be growing is very worrying. Bernie shares with you all. I heard a story once when they were establishing the Raylet clearing. There was they found out there was something there. The forests don't just they grow on their own, but sometimes they grow faster and darker and even smarter than trees should be. And when they went into the woods around the side of the Raylet clearing, they found I don't really know what to call it, a master tree. There was something big and something even more dangerous that was directing the other creatures. It was accelerating the growth rate of all the other plants, and he's brought in like a chunk of the root creature that you killed. He says, and it had roots like this, and they ran through the whole forest, and they created bigger and more dangerous monsters more quickly. I mean, forget making it through. I don't even know if we'd be able to come back if we don't get rid of this thing.
Let's get to hacking.
Yep.
All right. So, everyone give me a survival check.
Finally.
Yeah.
All right. So, you're able to start tracking the root system. And it really doesn't take long because these are massive. Like, once you find them, it's really more about figuring out where the junctions are. But it starts to lead you a little ways off the road. And as you go, the ground is getting sort of squelched and damp with water. You seem to be heading somewhat downhill, and there's a smell of swampish, swampy water. And eventually, it leads you to a sort of forest. It looks like maybe during a room, oak its banks poured down Slowly, but it must have been a water.
Can we tell where it's coming from?
Um, so as you keep following the roots, they're leading you deeper and deeper, and you're getting closer to like the lowest point where all this water is pooling together. And it's actually surprising because of the water. There's actually a bit of a break in the tree line, and you can see sort of like the sun starting to come up. And I'm going to drop you on a new map. And you're in the bottom left corner.
Oh, that looks inviting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You find a massive, truly massive creature of like its roots and bark and moss and all of it is grown together. But this thing is 100 feet tall. It's occupying like a small island in the center, and all of these roots are plunging into the water, and occasionally, almost like root dolphins, like they plunge down into the water under the ground, and then you see them come back up in places, not moving, but just that pattern of in and out, and it stretches off in every direction. How do you
But,
all?
but the limbs are like moving, like it's alive. Like,
Not like they're not like flailing, but they're definitely
okay.
like there's just sort of a more of a creaking than you would expect. Almost like there's a gentle breeze moving the branches, but there's no breeze. And the branches extend and sort of drape out. The center of it is massive, but then the branches are draping out far out from the center. I would say out to like here ish.
I'll look over to was it Bernie that was managing the fire hose?
Yeah.
Like, do you have enough fire juice for that thing?
If we can incapacitate it first, we won't have much left for the rest of the trip. But this seems more important.
Yeah, it does.
Agreed.
If this thing is like what you were telling us about and is able to direct other creatures, then we shouldn't expect it to go down easily, even if it can't move.
The thing we like a challenge.
All right. Is there anything you want to do before you go at it? Any kind of maneuver you want to do? And at this, be able to go ahead and use spells and abilities.
Um, probably when we clump up, it might be able to hit people at once. Oh, you got any ideas?
I think is what is the only thing I can think.
I mean, I can certainly create a diversion if you want to try something fancy, but
Yeah. My thought was a major firepower from the spellcasters and us protecting them from anything else that might pop out of the woods.
hmm. Oh, good point. Yeah, things are never what they seem out here.
Yeah.
Okay, which way should we go at it then? Just go directly from the southwest here, or
Yeah, not much point in trying to be fancy. It's gonna notice us. There's nothing for us to hide behind, and I don't know that we'd be able to hide anyway.
okay. Well, I mean, I could get up to about here. I don't know if I can ping or not. I don't know if you're seeing that, but get up to that first little tree right there, and I could probably chuck a javelin at it, just to get things going. But because it is a long way away, and I can't even tell if that's going to be difficult terrain or not. It might be.
Yeah.
The level of water itself, it doesn't seem like it's enough to actually be difficult terrain. It's probably maybe 3 or 4 inches of water. So it would be, probably get your boots damp, but not have to. It wouldn't be too bad.
Slow us down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We could try sneaking. I mean, we could try sneaking up on it, although that might be pointless. But I don't know.
You're
you have
welcome
any,
to. I am not sneaky in the slightest.
You have any ranged attacks you want to use on it before?
I am very much a step up and hit point blank. So
Yeah.
we've got Bernie and Pick. They can pull ranged.
Okay. Maybe we can just talk to it. Maybe no. All right, I'm going to see if I can maneuver up to, let's see here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I think I'll maneuver up behind this first pine tree right here.
All right. And I can actually maneuver up right next to you.
Excellent.
Before you do that, Bernie is going to give. Bernie's going to go ahead and make an experimental elixir, which in this case was an experimental elixir of healing, and give it to Gilderoy, and it's basically just an extra potion of healing.
Okay.
Nice.
Pick is going to cast Bless. Everybody those. And Pick is also going to go ahead and cast Aid, which raises everyone's max HP by 5. So it's different from temporary hit points. It actually temporarily increases your max HP.
Yeah. You know how to do that in Beyond? Or
Yes. Click
yeah,
your
if you click-
hit points, and there's a max HP modifier in the bottom left.
There it is. Thank you. There it goes. Does that increase our current hit points?
Yes.
Or
So you'll have a new cap, and it'll be added.
okay.
And since y'all are running through everything, he's going to go ahead and queue up. He's going to go ahead and queue up one of his Tales from Beyond. Lokag, give me a D12 roll.
8.
8. 8 is Tale of the Phantom. All right, that's going to be a good one. Actually, this is perfect for starting off. So he'll hold that one. Excuse me. All right, is there anything else any of them can do to be helpful? I think that'll be it. All right. So everyone go ahead and roll for initiative.
8.
11.
All right. So what do you want to be sort of the first thing? That's where our initiative will pick up. Who's going to do the first offensive thing in this fight?
Well, I'm still out of range even for javelin unless I throw it with disadvantage. I mean, it is a pretty big target, but still, I'd have to move closer otherwise. Anything you want to do?
I was honestly expecting to have Bernie send out a shocking black. What's the word?
Firebolt?
Scorching. Yeah, firebolt.
All right. Bernie will kick it off if that's what we want to do.
Yep.
All right. So we'll start with him on the initiative. And it's not surprised. Let's see. Oh, everything on the list looks the same. All right, that's going to hit. Youch. So it's going to start off with 24 points of damage. Bernie's like, if you guys are sure, and then his eyes just, and he throws one of these fire bombs, and it hits the central trunk here, and lights it up. As soon as that happens, flailing masses of branches
Oh.
and roots start moving angrily all across the edge here. And so we're going to get right to it. I got to think about what order these are going to be labeled in. So with this blue dot, this is now the alpha branch. All right. It's going to hold its action. So what's it going to do first? The branch that is closest to you all is going to smack at... it's actually going to smack at Bernie. It only gets a 10 to hit, though. It is Pick's turn. Pick's going to move up just a little bit to be able to see better. And is going to... All right. Vicious Mockery is not going to work. Now, the branch right in front of you is going to go again, and it's going to swing again at Bernie. Bernie made an impression. 17 to hit. That is going to hit.
And that impression was, oh, I'm a tree.
So Bernie loses most of his temporary hit points in one hit. And it is going to grapple him. He is grappled and restrained by this branch. I'm going to draw a line so we remember which one's which. All right. So... Oops. Double check. Okay. I have to remind myself if I gave it lair actions or not. I didn't. All right. That branch is too far. All right, Lokag, you're up.
All right. Gonna fish through my pack and pull out another alchemist fire flask, and I'm gonna chuck it at. Oh wait, actually, no, I don't think I want to do that while it's restraining the ally. So instead, I will just go into a barbarian rage, and I'm just gonna pack it, move up to so many tabs open. Move up to this branch here and just give it a good hacking.
Yeah, I have 2 screens and I still don't have nearly enough real estate.
Yeah. Oh, it's a critical
Oh
Yes.
man, yeah.
without even the bonus d4. So, all right. So it's gonna take, and I rolled a oh wait, wrong button. So yay! I trashed that natural one. Yes, and a natural 12. So
All right. Jeez.
oh, hang on. So that's the first die roll. I'll roll the second one and just not include the bonus here. Okay, so that's 22 slashing damage with the first hit.
You managed to cut through enough that it drops him and it kind of goes limp.
Nice. Okay. Which movement was that?
2.
That was like 10 feet.
10 feet, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I will then move 5, 10, 15, 20. Move myself right up to here. I'll just stare down Master Tree like, you're next!
All right. Gilderoy, you're up.
All right. So none of the other branches have actually done anything yet.
Not yet. You get the impression that there is a limited range.
Okay. Bernie, try to stay out of the range of the other ones. Let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20. I'm going to follow Lokag's lead. And I will use my channel divinity for a sacred weapon.
All right. Your weapon is now glowing. At the end of your turn, the trunk is going to use a legendary action, and some of the roots and branches on the other side sort of dip down and reappear. Not reappear, but a different section animates closer to you all.
Versus. Oh, dang.
Yep, and the one of the branches is going to take a swing at Lokag. It's only a 10. I'm just going to put letters on these, otherwise I'm going to completely lose track. All right. So it attacks. It is then Bernie's turn. Bernie is no longer restrained or grappled. Bernie is going to... Bernie's going to try and fairy fire the main body. So it's going to make a dexterity saving throw, which it's not good at, as you might imagine. Yep, it is fairy fired. All right. At the end of Bernie's turn, another legendary action, another branch is going to relocate.
It can do that?
Increase my font size here.
I disapprove most heartily.
Gonna rewrite these in a bigger font because there we go. All right. And F is right here. Branch F be able to reach. It can just barely Roy. Branch attack. It rolled a 3. Are killing these
Good.
rolls. All right. The main is going to use an action to move their branch. All right. And it is Pick's turn. Pick is going to step forward a little bit more. And Pick is going to deploy his Tail from Beyond. Yeah. And the Tail from Beyond is going to make Bernie invisible.
Good.
And at the end of Pick's turn, all of them are... Oh, it's got one more.
That would suggest these things have eyes.
That's true. It does something else that's good, so...
Okay.
Another one is going to move. This is E. And Branch G is going to go. Branch G is dead.
Yay!
Yay.
Branch B is going to go. It's going to attack Lokag. Nat 1. Bernie is the only one that has been hit by any of these. Branch C, attack against Lokag. Finally, 25 to hit.
Okay, yep, that hits.
12 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are grappled and restrained.
Okay, and I am raging, so is that halved?
Yes.
Okay, so 6 damage.
And once again, we will draw lines. We remember. Branch E attacks. Branch E is going to attack Pick. $22 to hit.
Yikes.
9 points of damage. That does 1 point past his temp HP. But he is now grappled. All right, Lokag, you're up.
All right, so is it a strength check or a save?
Strength. I think it's an athletics check because it's breaking a grapple,
Okay.
which you should eradicate.
Yeah.
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 That does use your action though.
Okay. Well, I will maneuver. So many tabs. I will maneuver 5, 10, 15 up here.
All right. And if you wanted to frenzy, I think you can still. Can you still attack if you frenzy?
Frenzy is a bonus action, so I'll leave it up to your discretion.
Yeah, you could.
Okay, yeah. What's little exhaustion, you know?
Well, and you don't take it till after it's over. So.
I know, yeah, exactly. So, Yeah, it's a one shot. Who cares?
Yeah, by the time this is over, you're gonna be victorious or dead.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Victoriously dead. Yes. Okay. 24 to hit.
24 hits.
12 slashing damage.
All right. You carve out a big chunk of it, uh, and give me a dexterity saving throw.
Come on. What's happening here? Oh, wrong button. Okay. A natural 20.
All right. As you hack into it, there's a burst of shimmering pollen that flies into the air, but you manage to duck out of the way.
My sworn enemy.
Yeah, I know. I'm feeling a little triggered with my allergies. All right, Gilderoy, it's your turn.
All right. Step down and breathe fire.
All right.
Stepping down lets me hit both the root and the main body. So the dex save is 14.
All right. Main body succeeds. Branch does not.
All right. It is 9 fire damage.
All right. So the branch is almost burnt to a crisp immediately. The body takes a substantial chunk of damage, but both
Only
are still
almost.
standing.
Well, that's not acceptable. I will swing my Morning Star at this branch,
All right.
Yes. Finish him.
which is a dirty 20 before I roll my d4.
All right. Yeah, that hits. Oh, also, just for grins and giggles, Lokag, go ahead and roll your. You didn't crit, right? On your attack?
Check.
No. Go ahead and roll again just to see if you crit.
It was not a crit, no.
I forgot. The body has fairy fire, but the icon is like a tiny dot in the top right corner.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
I'm just going to write it on top of it. There we go. All right. Yeah, so Gilderoy, you easily smash through, and this thing of limbs and roots goes limp.
All right. And then I will finish my move here at the corner.
All right. So it is Branch A's turn. It can get just about any of y'all. It is going to go for Lokag, since he's attacking the main body. 15 to hit.
That just hits.
All right. 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay, have to 4.
And grappled. Which I did not clear last time. So don't have to mark it again. All right. Branch D is dead. Bernie is up, and Bernie is invisible. So Bernie is going to firebolt with advantage. Against the main body. 23 to hit. So that's 18 damage plus... one roll of the inspiration die. So 20 points of damage.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Bernie is visible again.
Bernie, why?
It would have ended this turn anyway. Branch F. Branch F is going to attack Gilderoy because he's the only one in range. 11 to hit.
Yeah, no.
I promise this fight was supposed to be hard. All right. The main body is going to go, and it's going to. It's going to do something fun. It is going to have Branch A fling. It's going to use its fling attack. So.
Oh my god.
It grabs you and flings you as advertised. Just you are no longer grappled, but this is going to be some chunky damage.
Don't yeet the barbarian.
Barbarian yeets you.
What was that? So that's going to be 20 points of bludgeoning damage as you smash into the ground.
Oh. You know what? I'll give it to you. I did not see that coming.
All right. On Pick's turn, Pick is really struggling because Pick does not really want to get closer to this, but is also at an ineffective range. So Pick is going to come up behind Bernie and Pick is going to that doesn't do anything. Pick is going to use a second level healing words. Who's the worst hurt?
I'm fine.
Maybe he's not.
I'm fine.
Y'all are ridiculous. Maybe he's not going to do that. I guess Bernie's going to use another Tale from Beyond. Keep burning through those bardics.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 7. 7 is nice. All right. The main body is going to make a wisdom saving throw or be incapacitated for a turn. Jeez. It got a dirty 20.
Oh.
But it's still going to take 4 points of psychic damage. He is really not bringing his A game. At the end of Pick's turn, the main body is going to have a branch attack. No, it's going to attack Bernie for sure. 22 to hit. 7 points of damage. And Bernie is restrained. All right. Branch B's turn. Branch B is going to attack Pick. 24 to hit. 8 points of damage. I'm just going to use the lines instead of marking restrained every time because it feels silly. Branch C is still up. Branch C is going to attack Lokag. 18 to hit.
It hits.
10 points of bludgeoning damage.
Reduced. All right.
And Branch E. Oh, at the end of Branch C's turn, the main body is going to use a legendary action. And everyone except for Gilderoy is going to take 2d6. Oh, whoops, nope, it doesn't do damage, it just heals. There is a pulsing of these roots, and you see energy flow down the roots under the ground and then pulse up into the body. And it's going to heal for 23 points of damage. And then Branch E is going to fling Bernie. Po Bernie. Bernie's going to take another 14 points of damage. All right, Lokag, you're up.
Okay. I assume to my right that is branch A. Yes.
Yes.
No, not okay. What is the blue dot again?
That was me marking that it's Branch A. Then I decided to change how I was doing it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna chuck a flask at it. So I'll do okay, that's +7. So I'll just do one of
Chuck Flask.
these. Yeah. 15 to hit.
15 will hit.
Okay. Gonna take. Is that 6, I guess?
Yep.
Fire damage. All right. And I'll let that do its. I'll let that that fun little bottle do its thing, and I'm gonna maneuver over here. 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah.
Oh wait. Oh no, you have to. You're still restrained.
Oh, I'm still. Oh. Okay. In that case. Was it not? No, was that the advantage, or was that only 1d? It does advantage. But...
So here's the choice you have to make. You're using your action to break free. So you can
Yeah.
either throw the alchemist flask or try to escape.
Okay. What? I don't think I want to throw the flask while I'm attached to it. So yeah, I need to escape.
All right. And
You're attached to a different one.
You're raging, so you can. You're rolling with advantage. So go ahead and roll.
I'm
one
attached.
more time.
Wait, I'm attached to C. So yeah, I can. Well, okay. Well, dang it.
Well, I'll
Yeah,
say
you
this
know
too.
what? I do want to clear the brush. So yeah, I'll stay restrained, and I'll have that fire damage hit branch A.
All right. All right. I would say with your bonus action, since you're still attached, you could take a swing with disadvantage at branch C, just to use up your turn.
Okay.
Because it is technically still attached to you.
Yep. All right. Yep. So I'm just managing some stuff here. Okay. Okay. I'll just do 2 swings. Okay. Well, that's sadly not going to be it. Yeah. Perfect split.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Sad
Okay. Well,
day.
that was fun.
All right. Gilderoy, you're up.
Okay. Is the fairy fire still up?
Fairy Fire is... Oh, that's a good question. Bernie needs to roll some concentration checks. Oh. Was that me or you all?
What?
I just had a moment of it looks like everyone disconnected.
Oh, I turned off my video for a second.
Okay, that's what it was. Bernie loses Fairy Fire. Because Bernie got flung and it real hurt.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on Bernie,
All right.
and then turn right back around and start swinging at the trunk.
All right.
All right.
That'll
That
hit.
should actually be a 22 to hit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to burn a spell to make that into a smite.
All
So
right.
I'll burn a level 2 spell. So that adds 12, making it 19 damage.
Nice.
And then I will swing again.
All right.
That should be 17 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right. For 8 points. Let's burn the other second level splot for another smite. So 8 becomes 21 damage.
All right. You managed to take 2 substantial chunks out of it. All right. Branch A is going to go. And Branch A is on fire, so give me another Alchemist Flask.
Okay, well, 6 fire damage.
It's burning down pretty well, but it is not quite dead yet. It's going to retaliate against you. 22 to hit.
That's fair. Yeah, that hits.
12 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay. Does what hurt?
Branch D is dead. It is Bernie's turn. Bernie is going to use a Cure Wounds on himself.
Fair.
And he's going to burn a level 2. Holy crap, he heals himself for 22 points of damage, which is back to full in 1 level 2 spell.
Nice.
I apparently need to play an alchemist. All right, Branch F is up. Branch F is definitely on the far end and can only hit Gilderoy. It crits. Which is somehow only 13 damage.
Okay. I'm back down to my previous unboosted maximum. And I need to make a concentration check.
Yep.
That's what, a con save?
Yeah.
14.
14 saves. All right. It is the main body's turn. All right. All right. On the creature's turn. Yeah, this is gonna be good stuff. Everyone except Bernie has to make a Constitution saving throw.
Dirty 20.
Jeez. All right. It is only going to affect Pick. Pick. There's those that pollen that you saw when you hit the tree itself. They kind of up off of the branches that are restraining you all, and Pick falls asleep.
Oh.
And it's Pick's turn, and Pick is asleep. All right. It is Branch B's turn. Actually, yeah. At the end of Pick's sleepy time turn, uh, the body is going to use a legendary action to throw Pick.
Mm.
Oh. Pick's going to take some damage. Ouch. So the good news is that Pick is awake again. The bad news is that Pick took 14 points of damage as he flew through the air.
Mm.
And then Branch B is going to take a swing at Bernie. $24 to hit.
Oh,
And 11 points of damage.
but Shield of Faith adds plus 20.
Whoops, I should look at that. Oh, yeah, 24. Yeah, I hit. I don't know why I had to really stop and think whether Shield of Faith raised that enough.
Yeah.
All right. Branch C's turn. Well, here it goes. It is going to fling. Actually, it wants to keep moving you further away.
I'm gonna go off the map, or not quite, but yeah.
So it's going to fling you to there. 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
Starting to get annoyed.
Branch E is going to take a smack at Pick. But that's going to miss. Locag, you're up.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What was it? I'm gonna. Oh, dang! I have a lot of them. Okay, I'll quickly guzzle this very tiny healing potion. So, it's a roll action.
And we'll call that a bonus action.
Yeah. Okay. 2d4 plus 4. Take back 10 hit points. Okay. And let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Move right up here. And I'm going to chuck another flask at Branch C right there. So, 16 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right, he's gonna take 8 fire damage.
All right. Branch C starts to burn. All right. Gilderoy, it's your turn. You are grappled and restrained.
Yes, I am. Sorry, I needed to cough.
No worries.
So I've seen enough people being thrown around by these to know if I don't get out, I'm going to be thrown. In spite of that, I'm just going to turn around and breathe at the trunk.
Nice.
All right. So that is a dexterity save.
Yep.
It fails.
All right, 9 damage.
All right, so 18 total. It is starting to look real hurt.
And
anything else?
Well, that's attack number 1. Restrained means I have disadvantage on an attack, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, roll the Morning Star with disadvantage. Means that it is a 15 to hit.
15 just barely hits.
That will be 13 damage,
Nice.
and I'm willing to burn another spell for another
Oh,
smite.
jeez.
I'm out of second level spells, though, so it's all first level now. So 13 plus 8 is 21 damage.
It is looking pretty hurt. All right. Branch A, go ahead and give me Alchemist Flask damage.
That 4. Okay, 4 fire damage.
It is very close to dead, but isn't quite there yet. So it doesn't like being on fire. It swings at you, but only gets a natural 2. Bernie's turn. Bernie is going to run over. Nope, Bernie is restrained. Bernie is going to Healing Word pick.
Bless you.
And I rolled Cure Wounds. But I'll still give him that top roll. That gets pick out of danger. Man, all this pollen talk. This happened last time I ran this boss too, and I don't know if there's something to that. And since Fairy Fire dropped, Bernie is done, and Bernie is going to drop a Flaming Sphere and try and speed up killing these branches. Yeah, let's drop it here. Dex save. Nat 2. It's going to get hit. 20. Yep. In one shot, Bernie, true to his name, incinerates Branch F.
Yay!
Yay.
All right. It is the body's turn.
You said F, I think you meant E. You
Oh, yeah,
you killed the
you're right.
right
You're
one.
right.
Just don't know if that would affect your initiative order.
Yep, that would be very confusing. Yeah, I'll get pick out from under there. Oh, it's the sphere is the problem. There we go. All right. It is the body's turn. Bernie and Gilderoy both need to make Constitution saving throws.
Yay. Oh, 13.
13 is still going to do it. Oh, I was waiting for Bernie to make his saving throw. Bernie also succeeds. All right. It is Pick's turn. Pick is having a bad day. Pick's going to go ahead and drop his last Tale from Beyond, which is a 4. What is a 4? Oh, yeah, this would be good. All right. Everyone gets to teleport 30 feet as a reaction. So I'll just let you all choose where you want to go. You can move 30 feet.
Great.
That gets everyone out of restrained. That was a really good pull for his last one.
Yeah.
I am now a big advocate for spirits bards as support bards. Because even more so than some of the others, they really They just sort of hand cool things to everyone else all the time.
Nice.
All right, that was his action and bonus action to do that. At the end of his turn, the body's going to use a legendary action to have Branch B attack Pick. 23 to hit. 9 bludgeoning damage. It whips out and cracks across his face, and then wraps around, and he is restrained. All right. Now Branch B is going to take its own turn. Dang it. And it is going to throw him.
We're just getting juggled.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so Pick takes another 3d6 bludgeoning damage. Pick is pretty hurt. All right, and Branch C sees you all getting right up on the tree again. It's going to go after Gilderoy, who has done quite a bit of damage. That's a 20 to hit.
Oh, dang it.
11 points of bludgeoning damage. Lokag, you're up.
All right. I'm just gonna.
Oh, go ahead and give
Reckless.
me a roll. Give me an alchemist
What?
flask for the Branch C.
Right. Okay. 8 fire damage.
All right, it is also very hurt. All right, now go.
Yeah, make your potions work for you. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna recklessly attack Master Tree. So I'm just gonna click roll twice. Yeah. 24 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Okay, that's 14 slashing damage.
All right.
Second attack. $21 to hit.
That'll hit.
11 slashing damage, and I shall frenzy.
Jeez. Yep, that'll also hit.
Yeah. Okay. 16 slashing damage.
You just go full lumberjack and you carve away, like, what, 50 hit points in one turn? It is very, very hurt.
I sleep all night and I work all day.
Speaking of sleeping, you need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Save.
Jeez, you
And what is
save
the
again.
advantage? Can I see this thing happening, by the way? Because I do have advantage.
Yeah, you made the save, though.
Okay.
All right, Gilderoy, you are restrained by Branch C. What do you want to do?
Yep. So I know that all these branches are just part of the master tree, but in spite of that, I turn to Branch C and make a very rude gesture before turning back to the trunk and breathing fire again.
All right.
Again, you're suggesting these things have eyes and are sentient.
All right.
Oh, that's lovely. So dex save is 14.
It gets an 18.
Oh,
It is on fire, so much fire. It is just barely alive.
just barely, you say, because I have a second attack.
Oh,
Yes!
I am restrained, so it's disadvantage. And that was a nat 1.
wow, wow. And appropriately, it's going to use a legendary action to throw you.
Whee!
Yep. And you're going here.
Fair.
And that'll be another 3d6 bludgeoning. 10 points of bludgeoning damage. And branch A, give me another alchemist flask. You almost certainly will kill it on this turn. Unless you do that. All right, so branch A is still in the mix. It's going to grab Killjoy again.
Pick one for the team. Maybe
16
4.
to hit. It is not good.
It's a miss.
All right, Bernie's turn. Bernie is going to move up the sphere, and it fails the dex save. And burns up B. Bernie is just trying to clear house here. Bernie is going to also firebolt. Are A and C both about to die? Yes. Yeah, it's still going to do it. It's going to firebolt A. That'll hit, and it can't help but kill it. Or sorry, it's going to do C. So C is dead. A will just... I guess I'll keep it for now. All right. Branch... Poor branch F, which is now too far to fight. The main body on its turn... Has the main body been alchemist fired?
Not
yet.
I think.
All right. Man, it is getting to the end here. What is it going to do? It's going to try and get Lokag away from itself. So it's going to use branch. Oops, which one just died? C just died. It's only got the one branch left. It's going to use branch A to attack, but that's only a 15.
That ties.
Oh, that'll hit then.
That ties my armor class, yeah.
9 points, and you are restrained. All right, it is Pick's turn. Pick is real hurt. So Pick is going to... Oh yeah, Pick has that. Pick is going to mass healing word.
Nice.
Very nice.
Everyone heals 8. All right. Oh, yep, you're dead. As a legendary action at the end of Pick's turn, it is going to fling Lokag one last time.
Oh, this is getting old.
Not again. 17 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oof.
And now it's
That's only
Lokag's
8.
turn. Yeah. There is one branch left, and it's going to die of Alchemist Fire damage at the start of its turn.
Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I move 40, 5, 10, 15. Oh, it's just out of range for that. Okay, I'll just move up 40, and I'll just chuck,
Yes.
let's chuck a javelin at it.
I was hoping you would say Alchemist Fire, because if it died to Alchemist Fire, that would have been just...
I know, yeah, but I'm just out of range for that, so just give it a little pokey poke. 17 to hit. All right. And that's going to be 12 piercing damage.
All right. The branch is going to die on its own. So this is such a big creature that I don't think one of you by yourself is making this final blow. How are all of you together destroying this giant tree? This is your finishing blow. How do you all finish it together?
Well,
I
we could either just chop it down like lumberjacks, or we could blow a hole through it, or
I
cut it
think
down the
with our
middle.
powers combined,
Well, no, we
Lokag's
don't want to kill it.
axe
We're not Captain
catches
Planet. We're anti-Captain Planet at this point.
Captain Pollution.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was a real thing that they did.
Yep. I think that Lokag's axe kind of picks up the fire from especially Bernie, and just kind of blows it through a gash and kind of launches the fire out the other side in kind of an anime move to make it look like a 20-30 foot long flaming axe.
So together you all deal this vicious, horrible blow, and the whole thing reels. And you realize now some of the limbs are limbs, and this thing falls to like a knee in its arms, and you all hear this furious whinnying and whinnying mad defiance. Horpins drags the cart full of alchemist fire at full speed and crashes into this creature, and the whole thing explodes, sending it up in a pillar of fire.
Horpins, you were supposed to survive.
Oh, I knew I shouldn't have named him.
It was the only way it could happen. The fire just sprays everywhere. All of the branches, all of it is just rapidly just crumbling down. It takes a couple of hours for it to burn all the way through, and by the time it's over, you're able to collect one barely preserved charred horseshoe.
Orphans.
Yeah.
Is there any glue? Can we collect some glue?
Oh.
You get one bottle worth of sovereign glue.
So you all fell this titanic creature, and almost immediately you can see the effect. Within like a couple of hours, the root system that had been running through these woods starts to die at high speed, and it's not just the roots that die, but you can see that there's like an area around them where they were like integrated with all the other trees, and all of those trees start to die as well. It doesn't like single-handedly like clear this whole area, but it radically thins it out, even more so than when this began. You all are able to make your way in relative safety the rest of the way to the Alden clearing. As you approach, you can see that, sort of much like your all's settlement, there's a huge barricade that's been built, and there are like metal plates sort of pounded around it all the way around. Torches are burning, and you can see them cleaning up. The tree line had gotten within like 30 feet of the walls. And you can see now these like wilted trees that have like fallen over, and the Alden cutters are out there with axes, like just viciously chopping them up. You can see that all of the defenders have like bandages and wounds that have been sort of patched up, and they are beginning the grim task of pushing back this near catastrophe that was poised to swallow up their clearing. You all, once you explain kind of what had happened, there's a great deal of celebration. You all are toasted by all the other cutters. They dig into some of the deep food reserves and bring out some better food and drink. There are massive bonfires just all over the place as they burn all of this wood. And so that will be sort of our closing scene, this scene of celebration. And one final toast. All of the cutters in unison. To Horpins.
Your Horpins.
Huzzah!
All right.
Then I go, wait, now what do we do? We can rebuild. Oh, there's no wood.
We'll find out next time we do a one shot in the Dreadweald.
Yay!
All right. Well, thank you all for joining on this strange ride.
Thank you.
Oh, and now I have like
Cody.
20 minutes to go catch my breath before I hop back in for my game later. So,
Yay.
Woo!
all right.
Well,
Well,
thanks,
I will
man.
talk to y'all later. Thanks for playing.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
Peace.